So this is going to be 5 things you need to know if you're trying to start a clothing brand in 2024. Let's go. I wanted to bring y'all a video, man, that was gonna add some serious value. Now that we didn't cross 1K, man, we about to start peeling back the layers on this channel, because some of y'all who follow this channel may know that I have a clothing brand. Of course, I'm usually rocking it in the video, Raw Melon Apparel. So I felt like it was gonna be real important to bring to y'all some stuff that I've learned in 3 years of running a clothing brand, and just give you guys some things you really need to know in 2024 if you're looking forward to starting a clothing brand, if you're looking into starting a clothing brand. So let's get into number one. Number one, and I got my notepad right here because I wanted to be organized, all right? You need to be a hustler, man. You need to be a hustler. And when I say hustler, I mean somebody that has a non-stop motor and desire to make something happen, to make something shake, to make something out of nothing. You know, I notice a lot of people that come from where I come from, and I come from the hood, west side of Charlotte, stand up. You know, a lot of people that went from the block to corporate America or owning their own companies, reason being is because they always had that hustler mindset. So if you don't have a hustler mindset, then you probably don't want to start a clothing brand. Number one tip, I'm just going to call it 1A because I really didn't have it on my list. I wanted to say it. You gotta be a hustler, man. You gotta be a hustler. All right, number one, because we said hustler wasn't on the list, but you gotta be a hustler because you gotta be able to make something shake, right? You gotta make something out of nothing. Sometimes you're gonna get a pack that's gonna go real quick. Sometimes you're gonna get a pack that's gonna, you know, have some slow flow to it. But at no point in time can you stop hustling the pack. You gotta move the pack, all right? Number one on my list was design. Design, man, you gotta have an idea. And this is from a beginner point of view, because I'm 3 years into my brand, and I feel like I'm just now kind of crossing that trying to figure it out stage, because the design aspect of it is very crucial and very important. You need to find out, are you an artist? Do you want to design your own logo or your own brand? Or do you want to outsource that work? Or do you have a friend? In my case, I had a homie that, you know, I met at the beginning of my brand, who's a brother to me now. Shout out to Lucky, who is a graphic designer. And I was able to give him my concept or my idea of what I wanted my brand to look like. And he was able to create the original logos for my brand. Now, if you don't have a friend, you know what I'm saying? If God does not align you with a person, he's going to align you with the correct tools that you need to get your brand work done. But you got to find out your design, man, because at the end of the day, your design is going to be the basis of what your mock-ups are going to look like, what your clothing brand is going to look like. So if you don't have a design, then you can't really go too much further from that point. You need a design, you need an original logo, and that leads me into number two. All right, so number two on the list of the 5 things you need to know about starting a clothing brand in 2024 is going to be the message. We just talked about the design, right? We just talked about the design. And I would say the message. And underneath message, you will say the name of your brand. Because for some of y'all who want to start a brand, you might already have the name of your brand, right? And then, you know, you got the design. The next thing you're going to need is a message. You need to know what does your brand stand for? So kind of like a mission statement, right? What does your brand stand for? One thing I learned about owning a brand is that when you go to pop-up shops, and I had the luxury in 2023 of dropping my clothes in a store, in a brick and mortar location, and it's selling out and having an extremely successful year in my own right. You know, I'm not measuring it against anybody else, but my brand had a really successful year in 2023. And I will say this, when you're meeting strangers and people that never heard of your brand, and I'm talking about all walks of life, you know, corporate America, different races, different, you know, age groups and things like that. One common question that I got was, how did you make this? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people want to know about the design work and what you did and who did it and stuff like that. And the number 2 question I got a lot was, what does your brand mean? What does Raw Melon mean? And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, I came up with my mission statement in my first year of my brand, because it was something that I did overlook, and I felt like it was something that I probably needed when I started my brand, but I did overlook it. And I'm gonna tell you why it's important. Because when a random person comes up to you and they look at your brand, excuse me as I'm clearing my throat, I'm recording this video, my wife is gone. She did set me up with the proper angles and everything, but look, you know, people are gonna ask you what your brand means. And in 2024, people are gonna automatically judge your brand. They're gonna read the words and they're gonna say, well, I think it means this. You know how many people I had come to me and said, some older people that eventually purchased from me at one pop-up shop in particular at a concert I was at, where somebody was like, does this have anything to do with marijuana? I was like, no, ma'am, it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? I don't even smoke or drink, you know? And so, but they don't know that about you. So I had to explain to her what raw melon means. Raw means being true, being authentic, being who God called you to be. And the melon is about taking care of yourself. You know, a lot of people that watch this channel may not know that I'm vegetarian. Been vegetarian for about 7, almost 8 years, and it's a huge part of my life. And I believe in taking care of myself. I had multiple uncles. All my mom's brothers are dead due to heart attacks, cancer, health issues. And on my dad's side of the family, we have a lot of health issues running rampant in the men. And so I made a decision to change my life and change what I put in my body, because I said, you know, I don't want to leave this earth too early. But let me stop rambling. You gotta have a mission statement, okay? And a lot of times when I talk to people about my brand, my mission statement does run on a little bit, but it gives you that conversation piece, especially when somebody is intrigued by the quality of your product, they're intrigued by the design of your product, and they really wanna know what the message is behind it. And that may be the determining factor whether they actually buy your product or they don't buy your product. And so when I'm talking to them about how I'm vegetarian, why I'm vegetarian, what the brand means, being authentic, being true, and truly taking care of yourself so that you can live out all the years that God has planned for you to live, and you can make the proper decisions by being healthy. A lot of people say, you know what, I like that. How much is that? Let me get one of those, all right? So that leads me into number 3. Number 3, and again, I got my notepad here. This is the first on the Mud Talk Radio channel where I actually wrote this thing down, and I wanted to have this thing organized because I'm giving y'all some real sauce that I wish somebody would have gave me. My homie, again, shout out to my brother, Lucky, Black Divinity. If it wasn't from him, raw melon would have not, you know, really gotten off the ground, because when I met him, it was just an idea. He brought that idea to life. He also gave me resources and tools to help me get it off the ground. He even literally production-wise produced my first drop, which was a pre-order, and it sold out and it did really well. So I'm never ever gonna not give my dog credit, because I was extremely lucky and grateful to have somebody like that in my corner. But with all that being said, number 3 would be mock-ups, man. This is something that became a major issue for me over the last, I say probably like 8 to 10 months. You know, I would come up with an idea. I would shoot the idea to my dog, who has his own clothing brand. If you haven't already, please go follow Hype Space TV over here on YouTube. That's my dog. He's into fashion. He's an extremely funny person. So he posts a lot of comedy videos. You know, he's growing his followers over there, man. He's just a great guy, man. But anyway, mock-ups, man. If you don't know how to make a mock-up, I would consider looking into how to make a mock-up. It's not as hard as you think. And this is coming from somebody right now that is not tech savvy. I don't know how to use like Photoshop and all of these things. You know, I did some research. I looked up the easiest way to make a mock-up, and I learned how to make a mock-up. Now, if you want more information on a mock-up or a mock-up tutorial, drop it in the comment section. That is a video I would love to bring to this channel if you guys are interested in something like that, because it's not as hard as you think. But you need to learn how to make a mock-up, because when you're coming up with a design, you need to be able to visualize that design on a hoodie, on a pair of sweatpants, on a zip-up hoodie, maybe on a jacket, maybe on a varsity jacket, a pair of jeans, you know, a pair of socks. You need to know how to create that yourself, because just like a artist who has a studio in their house, who can go into the booth and record themselves, the likelihood of them coming up with a hit is extremely high versus somebody that always got to go to the studio, pay somebody, and you know, if the song come out good, it come out good. when you get home and listen to it, you find out, man, I wish I would have did this better. I would have did that better. But the only way you're going to be able to do that is to go back in the studio, pay them again, and do it again. So if you're able to do this at home, and I'm talking about a mock-up, I just used the artist as an example, you got a better chance of just getting it right and tweaking it and, you know, getting the opinions of the people around you in your community. And, you know, just learning how to make a mock-up is going to be very, very important. Now, if you have the resources to pay somebody to make a mock-up, I would say start there. While you're paying somebody to make your mock-up, learn how to do it yourself so you can eventually cut out that expense, because you're going to need it. And that leads me into number four. Number four on this list, man, on 5 things you need to know about starting a clothing brand in 2024. You need to know your budget, man. You got to know what you can spend, how you can spend it, and how it's going to, not even say spend, what you can invest. Let's stop using the word spend. How much can you invest into your brand? Because there's a lot of money that we spend on a day-to-day basis that is not an investment. There's things that we spend money on that yields no returns in our life. You need to have a budget on what you can invest, how much you can invest, when you can invest it, and what are you working towards? Guys, I'm hoping you finding value in this video, because this is a new one for me. This is a new one, but I feel like you gotta be transparent. People wanna know the real you. They wanna know what's really going on, because so many times on YouTube, all people wanna talk about is how I scaled my business to $2 million, and you can buy my course, and if you buy my course, I'll show you everything else. You know, the reality is, I don't knock that hustle, but I want you to be able to come to this channel where we talk about fashion, sports, life, and culture. And I want you to get game from each and every one of those. I want to be able to add value to you guys, whether it's a sneaker review video, whether it's a vlog, whether it's a fashion video like this one. I want to be able to add value to you guys. And as we continue to talk about budget, you got to know how much things cost so that you can create a budget, right? You need to know how much does your clothing brand, how much is it gonna cost you to own and operate a clothing brand? In order to know that, we're gonna get into number 5, which is gonna really help you create your budget, all right? Number 5 is you gotta find a manufacturer, okay? If you follow these steps, right, you got the hustler in you, you got your design, right? You got your mock-up. Now, you got an idea of what you want to spend. Say you got like $500. Say you got $300. I don't know. Say you got $250. You're going to want to take your mock-up, reach out to a manufacturer, okay, which is not hard to find. If you go on Instagram, I'll post one right here on the screen so that you can see how easy it is to find one. Just find your favorite clothing brand on IG, go to their followers, and you're going to look through there and you're going to see nothing but manufacturers. Just pick one, go to their page, check their comments, check their likes, see how long they've had their page, see how often they post, and send them a message with your mock-up and see how much it will cost you to actually get a sample made, or how much would they make how much would it cost for them to make 30 of these for you, right? Because some manufacturers have a 25-piece minimum quantity, some have 20, some have 30, some do 50, some of the bigger ones do 100. You're gonna wanna find you a manufacturer that is in your budget, you know, that will be willing to work with you because you just started your brand, and allow you to eventually order more pieces from them. I have a great manufacturer as of right now. I'm always looking to find a better one. But with that being said, I'm not gonna hold out no sauce on anybody. Like, I'm not gonna keep anything from you guys. So if you wanna know the manufacturer I use, just make sure you follow me over on Instagram at Raw Melon Apparel. That is the clothing brand page. If you wanna follow the YouTube page at Mud Talk Radio, that's the main page as well. But if you want any type of sauce, man, you got any questions, man, my DMs are always open. I'm gonna make sure I answer the questions. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm not trying to sell y'all nothing. If you into my brand, check it out. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to give you tips and advice on how you can start a brand in 2024, because we all work jobs. Some of us work jobs, or at least not most of the people on YouTube, right? They all talk about how they scale their brand to $100,000 or $200,000 or $1 million, and maybe they don't work a job. But the reality is, man, right now, man, The way real life looks, if you're not making at least $130,000 a year, you can't even buy a decent house for real. Like, you might be able to buy an investment property, you might be able to rent a nice apartment if you make less than that. But if you ain't making $130,000 a year, and this is per a news report that I just listened to the other day, is that it's getting harder and harder for the average person, one person, to purchase a home. Luckily, I have a wife who has a business, I have a business, and you know, we do our thing. But what I'm saying is, man, you gotta find you a manufacturer that's gonna be willing to work with you and your money. And if the first one don't answer you, reach out to somebody else, man. But you gotta be careful because there's a lot of scammers out there. It's a lot of scammers. That's why I say reach out to me. I can help you out, man. I can tell you the manufacturer I'm using. You can look at the videos I'm posting. And this is a kind of extra bonus tip I'm gonna give y'all. All right, so the bonus tip is going to be, you gotta figure out when you're talking to these manufacturers if they're really good people or not. And the reason I say that is because my manufacturer, I met him through somebody else who, I didn't talk about community, but community is really important when you're in the clothing brand space, when you're in whatever business you're in. You need to get around like-minded people, people that are pursuing the same goals, people that have accomplished the goals you're trying to accomplish. You need to get around people that are farther than where you're at right now, because it's the only way you're gonna learn. You can't be the biggest dog in a little small little pool or a big fish in a little pond. That ain't gonna work. You gotta get around people that's doing better than you, and that's how you learn, that's how you soak up game. But I found this manufacturer through somebody else. Shout out to my dog up in Ohio who put me on to this manufacturer. I reached out to him. Listen, his turnaround time is great, and he video calls me. He's overseas, but he video calls me like doing the cut and sew process. He video calls me like doing a printing process, like doing a packaging process. Like after he cut my first sample, he literally video called me on Instagram with one of his employees trying on my hoodie to show me how it fit. The dude was like 6 feet tall. He was like literally breaking everything down to me. That's taking an extra mile. That's taking an extra mile. That's taking an extra mile. All right. So make sure the manufacturer is willing to take that extra mile and really show you the process, because last thing you want to do is spend all this money for something and then it don't show up at your front door or your shipping address the way that you envisioned it looking. So that gets me into another bonus tip. I know I said 5, but this is too important to leave off. This is too important to leave off this video, is that you gotta have a size chart, dog. Have a size chart. Like, you cannot start a clothing brand without a size chart. That was the biggest mistake I made. Now, you can start a clothing brand without a size chart, but if you do that, what happens is the manufacturer that does not receive a size chart, and that's just the dimensions of whatever garment you're trying to get made, they're going to go based on the standard US size chart, which is not the best, man. Like, personally, the hoodie I'm rocking right now is not cut like a standard US hoodie, but some other hoodies that I have gotten made were based on the standard US size chart. And after spending a good amount of money, I was kind of disappointed in the cut of the hoodies, because I'm a streetwear brand. I am not trying to put out a hoodie that you find at the beach on the strip where they selling like these cheap hoodies for like $50. It only costs them like $3 to make, and the hoodie cheap and it's shaped weird and it's long and it's, look, you don't want that. And so what you need to do is you need to find your favorite clothing brand that you purchase clothes from. And if you're trying to model your streetwear brand, if you're in the streetwear around that brand, just research the size chart of that brand. Like, for example, Essentials, bro. You can literally type in Essential size chart on Google, and it's gonna give you the pictures. It's go to images. It's gonna give you the pictures of all the size charts for Essentials. You want to find the best one. It's going to tell you the width. It's going to tell you everything. And so when you send that to your manufacturer, he's not going to send you a standard US hoodie. He's going to send you a hoodie based on the measurements that you submitted to him via your size chart. Okay. That's very, very important. Before I get out of here, guys, I just want to say this one thing, man. I really appreciate the love. I appreciate all the support to the channel. As we continue to grow, I'm going to bring you these type of videos because it's about value. Like, if you're gonna come to this channel, I want you to leave with some value. And I'm gonna do a part 2 to this video because I felt like 5 was good, but it wasn't good enough. I got more to come. So we're gonna do a part 2 to things you need to know about starting a clothing brand in 2024 and how you can expedite that process and get the ball rolling, because we all trying to get to that money, man. Again, I just gave you a number. $130,000 is what one person needs to be making right now to be able to afford a $400,000 home. And in most cities, $400,000, that's just kind of scratching the surface. You could probably get in a decent neighborhood for $400K, but you know, you want to make more money than that. We want to make more money than that. So in order to do that, you got to get this clothing brand off the ground, dog. You got to get your brand going. Like, you got to get it going right now so you can get out there, you can hustle, and you can move it out the trunk. You don't even need your website yet. But either way, man, that's what we're going to do over here, man. But you know the saying, man, before we get out of here. Love is free. Hate costs. You've been watching the episode of Mud Talk with your boy, Coach T. I'm out.
Subscribe, like, comment, hit that post notification.
Oh yeah, you heard it first and foremost.
Go hit the like, go subscribe, go all that.
All that, man.
Like that.